You know guys, in today's video we're going to be highlighting so many of the ways that Battlefield 6 has been exposing Call of Duty and Activision, but not just them, even the Call of Duty gooch slickers. Alright, because a lot of these guys have been supreme coping, and unfortunately for them we got some bad news because one of these things is something that I haven't seen any other content creator really bring up, and I know for a fact it's about to make them really big mad in the comment section because the COD fan base is currently grieving, alright? They're in the grieving process. Step 1 is denial, and they're denying the fact that Battlefield 6 has already overtaken Call of Duty. Just from a statistical standpoint, I'm sorry, you just can't argue against it. But anyways, we're gonna get into all the ways that Battlefield 6 has been exposing Call of Duty and Activision, but before we do, please leave a fat ass Lizzo-sized like on today's video, and subscribe if you're new, guys. We're like 400 or 500 subscribers away from 50 fucking thousand, which is absolutely insane. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the subscribe button, and down in the comments below, you already know what to do. Hashtag Fooly50, and guys, let's get right into it. This is a tweet that comes out from yours truly, Doug Dimmadome Warzone.
Fuck you, Doug!
Comparison of rotational aim assist in Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty. This comparison makes it clear that COD's aim assist does most of the work for you if you actually use the left stick properly.
Surge active.
And if you played the Battlefield 6 beta on a controller, then you would have immediately noticed this, just the clunkiness, quote unquote, that comes from your movement, from your aiming and shooting, and just the absence of the Call of Duty aim assist that exists in that game that does everything fucking for you. But in Battlefield 6, I'm sorry, but this is just the truth. It kinda requires a little bit more skill, whereas in a game like Call of Duty, the aim assist is so fucking strong that you can be a shitter and still do very good in that game, and that's just a hard pill to swallow for the Call of Duty fan base, especially when we get into the SBMM portion of this video, because trust me, you're not gonna want to miss that. And I plan on talking about this in my eventual Battlefield 6 review, but if you spend a majority of your time on Call of Duty and then you switch to Battlefield 6 like a lot of us have, the aiming and shooting is not going to feel right. But that's the thing. I think shooting in a first-person shooter should actually feel more like it does in Battlefield 6 than in a game like Call of Duty, because that's just artificial as all fuck. Which is crazy too, because when you think about how many people are cheating and hacking in Call of Duty, I mean, it really makes you wonder, like, how fucking dog shit do you have to be to cheat in a game that already aims and shoots for you?
Shut up, Mimsy!
And this is coming from a controller player on COD. The recent Call of Duties, ever since MW 2019, these games literally aim for you, and it's not fucking fair in the goddamn slightest. And the Call of Duty fans that are coming into Battlefield 6 and are complaining that there's SBMM because they fucking suck dick, yeah, this is probably a major key component of why they suck so bad in Battlefield 6. And in case you haven't pieced it together, there's an obvious reason why Call of Duty's aim assist is so strong nowadays. It's because they need their shitters to do better, and if they do better, then the chances of them buying a cringy cosmetic in the shop increases, and thus gives Activision more revenue as a result. Now, unfortunately, like I said, the Call of Duty fan base, they're grieving right now, so they're in the denial stage, and they can't wrap their heads around the fact that even though there is team balancing in Battlefield 6 and that skill is kind of taken as a factor into the matchmaking, that doesn't make it skill-based matchmaking the way that we know it in Call of Duty, where your games are fucking rigged. Yeah, that's not a thing in Battlefield 6. Also, Battlefield 6 for the most part is like 64 v 64, brother. Like, that's not a thing that is going to exist in Battlefield 6. So to all of you COD fanboys that are out here talking about Battlefield 6 is rigged with SBMM and Battlefield 6 is over, even though SBMM can totally exist and result in the success of Call of Duty, and yet when it's in Battlefield 6, all of a sudden it means it's dead and dying and over. Yeah, anyways, a lot of your favorite content creators that are coming out here talking about SBMM in Battlefield 6, unfortunately, the fact of the matter is they just fucking suck. And they suck so goddamn much, as a matter of fact, that even people like Doug are better than them in FPS games. Take a look at this tweet that comes out from yours truly, once again, Mr. Doug Dimmadome Warzone.
Fuck you, Doug!
Not having to deal with SBMM after having a good game in Battlefield 6 has been so nice. Crazy how ridiculous the current state of skill-based matchmaking is in Call of Duty. You immediately notice it when you go play any other game. Being punished for playing good sucks. And that is an absolute fact, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, but no matter which way you want to spin it, SBMM does not exist in the same way that it exists in Call of Duty as it does in a game like Battlefield 6, okay? If you've played even like an hour of Battlefield 6, you would have immediately noticed the difference, okay? It's just a fact. Now, if you're having a hard time in the game, especially if you're on controller, as we already talked about at the start of the video with the entire rotational aim assist shit, then I can see why you might be having a hard time and you think that it's skill-based matchmaking that's fucking you, when unfortunately for you, you simply kinda just suck. And what's crazy is you're not really supposed to even play Battlefield in the same way that you play Call of Duty. Like, it's not just stat padding and stat chasing. You actually got shit to do on the map here in Battlefield 6, and this is coming from a brain-rotted Call of Duty player, okay? You see me at the top of the scoreboards, but god damn it, I'm trying to do a bunch of shit, okay? It's not just run and gun and shoot and aim mindlessly, especially on these tiny-ass maps like fucking Babylon and Nuketown and Shipment. Like, it's not just brain-rot clusterfuck maps. It sucks to say, I know a lot of you guys are very, very pissed off. A lot of you guys have been crying and seething in my comment section, making reaction videos to me or trying to call me out in your own YouTube videos.
What's wrong with licking gooch, dude?
I get it. You get outdone and outperformed by a guy named Scatmaster Fooly, not only on YouTube, but also on Battlefield 6 and Call of Duty. Yeah, it's a bad fucking day. I completely sympathize with you, but unfortunately, it just sounds like a skill issue, and you gotta get better. Now, the funny thing about skill-based matchmaking here is the fact that SBMM, as we know it in Call of Duty, works for one specific purpose, and it ties back into the exact same shit that we just talked about with aim assist. SBMM currently works in the way that it does in COD to produce brain-rotted COD fanboys that are more incentivized to do what? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, to spend more in the fucking cringy ass shop in Call of Duty so that Activision grows their pockets at the expense of the consumer's experience, alright? That is completely anti-community and pro-finances. Now, the fact that Battlefield 6 does not need to resort to rigging their games with skill-based matchmaking to produce more money out of their shitters already tells me that they're more pro-community than Activision and Call of Duty are, and I'm sorry if it sounds like glaze, but that's a win in my book. Now, for the back end of today's video, I just want to show you guys an image, a tweet that comes out of this guy named The Burnt Peanut. He says, hashtag Battlefield 6 is fantastic, but I think I know how to take it to the next level. And go ahead and feast your eyes on this, guys. As you can see, we got Battlefield 6 here, but what a lot of the Call of Duty fans truly want is this bullshit right here, man. And it's completely evident in the fact that if you try to argue numbers with Call of Duty fanboys, you can show them the data clear as day and be like, yo, the Battlefield 6 beta has outperformed Call of Duty at its absolute peak. Even when there's been free betas on both sides, even when there's been launches and new seasonal content, whatever the case may be, the Battlefield 6 open beta has already beaten anything that Call of Duty can possibly provide. Whenever you say that to a gooch licker, a lot of their responses are, oh, but Call of Duty still gets more revenue. Oh wow, brother, way to prove to me what Activision's intentions are. Because once again, while Battlefield 6 is actually immersive and people actually like the aesthetic of, I don't know, real life war in a first person shooter game, Call of Duty is still on this weird shit. Like, take a look at this. New prehistoric portal emote in Black Ops 6 Season 5 spawns the Z-Rex boss from Shattered Veil. Now, I understand this is like a zombies thing, but this just looks fucking goofy. And let's not forget about this. This comes out from Charlie Intel. A closer look at the Call of Duty Black Ops 7 Vault Edition skins and Mastercrafts. Once again, cringy bullshit. And even the Call of Duty fans themselves don't even want this shit, man. I mean, feel free to read some of the responses I'm putting up on the screen right now. It's not a fucking question at this point. Battlefield 6 is severely outperforming Call of Duty, and it's gotten to the point where even when they expose the biggest blind spots and red flags in Call of Duty, you need to be one of the grimiest fucking mouth-breathing gooch slickers on the goddamn planet to still be defending Call of Duty, okay? I've already shown you instances in which the aim assist heavily favors shitters in Call of Duty, and that's why they don't like Battlefield 6, and they seemingly think SBMM is rigging their experience in the game when that's not what is going on at all. I've already shown you instances in which EA, of all fucking publishing companies, are not interested in that cringy bullshit for the sake of revenue. If it comes out later on in the future that EA DICE starts putting in all of these cringy ass cosmetics, then mark my words, I'll make a rant video on Battlefield 6 where I'm taking a fucking shit on it. The unfortunate truth for all of you COD fanboys out there is that I'm not necessarily glazing Battlefield 6, but I just so happen to fucking enjoy it, and you cannot accept that because at the same time, I'm disliking some of the current shit in Call of Duty. Apparently, us content creators out here that are covering Call of Duty and Battlefield 6 are only critical of Call of Duty and hating on it because we get views. Because, you know, according to them, hatred equals views and money, even though the biggest Call of Duty channels are not rant channels. They're not critical of Call of Duty in the same way that we are. But keep that in mind because now, all of a sudden, if we're positive and optimistic about Battlefield 6, apparently we're just doing that for views and money because that's what gets us easy clicks. Ladies and gentlemen, these people don't make any fucking sense. You're better off taking a fucking shit in the toilet, making eye contact with it, and then trying to ask it a fucking question.
Turning on the PlayStation 5 for the first time. What the hell?
But that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I'm curious to know what you guys think about all this. What are your thoughts on the rotational aim assist in Battlefield 6 versus Call of Duty, and all the other ways Battlefield 6 has exposed Activision? Let me know down in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notifications to stay up to date with my newest videos, and yeah guys, it's been the boy Fooly. Have yourselves a good one. I'm out of here. Peace.
This ain't in my body.